You are Locked On Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day.
And hello and welcome into the Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. Grant McAuley, Jake Mastroianni with you after a very late night for those of us out on this side of the country. But for the Braves, a very good night out in the desert in Arizona as they even up their three-game series at a game apiece by winning the middle contest by a 5-2 score. We'll break down the performance of Spencer Strider, some timely hits, a little bit of offense to get going finally because this has been a long road trip, and that has not been a part of every single game, at least not to the level the Braves have needed. And we'll, of course, get you set up for the finale, which happens on Sunday afternoon. Before we get started with any and all of that, I want to remind you to subscribe to Locked On Sports Atlanta right here on YouTube and make sure that you click the bell to get notified every time we drop a new episode. Well, Jake, we have got ourselves a pretty good ball game to talk about tonight. As you can see, the final score there, 5-2. The Braves pick up a win. That's a crooked number that's on the board and one that is a little bit bigger than the Braves have been accustomed to seeing on their trip out to the westernmost parts of the country.
Yeah, you're going to stay up this late. You obviously want to try and get a win and obviously try to even up this series as well. But I thought it was one of the better played games the Braves have played in a long time. So that's very encouraging to see.
Yeah, this has been a road trip where better played or well played and Braves, at least in all phases, has not been the case. The nights that they seem to get the pitching that they need, the offense has not been there. Like game one of this series where Charlie Morton tossed 7 strong innings, but the Braves got a couple of solo homers from Eddie Rosario, had a rally that shorted out in the 9th inning, and weren't able to avoid another loss. And this, of course, comes on the heels of, I hate to bring it up again, but losing 2 out of 3 to the Oakland Athletics, but a much better outcome here and hopefully a sign of things to come for the Braves as well, at least as far as this offense is concerned. The pitching, I think, on this trip has done its job more times than not. Let's talk about game number 58 of the season. Braves now 34-24 on the year. They got 5 runs on 11 hits, no errors, and 8 men left on base. The Diamondbacks 36-24, one of the best records in baseball and one of the best records in the National League. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors, 8 men left aboard. Spencer Strider, the winner, now 6-2. Ryan Nelson takes a loss, drops to 2-3 on the year. And Raisel Iglesias recorded his 6th save in a game that lasted 2 hours, 44 minutes, and a crowd of 36,529 were on hand to see it. Let's begin with the start of Spencer Strider. I thought he was able to kind of work through when some things weren't really going his way, or should I say, when some things weren't working for him on this night. We don't see that too terribly often, but Spencer was able to work around 4 walks, and an easy way to do that is don't give up very many hits. He did allow 1 home run, but just 2 runs across 6 innings were charged to him. Jake, I thought this was setting the foundation for a Braves win, and you need to win on the day Spencer Strider pitches.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good performance, for Spencer Strider. Obviously, the expectations are very high for him, and he sets those very high bar for himself. But, 6 innings, 2 earned, that's, going to give this Braves team a chance to win most games. And look, at 90 walks, 4 batters, maybe loses control of that slider a little bit there in those middle innings and struggles with the walks a little bit. But it's 3 straight starts now with Strider of 6 innings of 2 earned runs. So, I mean, again, you'll take that every time. I think a lot of Braves fans have come accustomed to maybe expecting a little bit more. And again, I think Strider probably expects more out of himself, but that's really good work right there. 6 innings, 2 earned. I think you'll take that. And, he's striking out at least 7 batters each time he goes out there. So, a good start for Spencer Strider. Got an early lead as well. So, you felt pretty good about your chances with him on the mound, and the Braves were able to get it done.
Yeah, and they were able to get it done, and he was, of course, a big part of that. I guess just kind of looking at the 4 walks, that might be the one thing where when he starts to look over this one, he's going to figure out what kind of things he can adjust and maybe what reason there was that he kind of lost the control of that slider or the command of that slider. But you can't really argue with these results whatsoever. And Evan Longoria's solo homer against him, that really the only mistake pitch that I saw him make. Clearly things got a little bit hairy for the Braves for a moment in the 7th inning when Strider left the game and Jesse Chavez came in. But hey, before I get into the offense, kind of want to talk about Jesse Chavez and what I would call some really gutsy pitching because the bases were loaded, because he hit a batter. There were some, Arizona base runners were everywhere, and he was able to get not 1 but 2 big strikeouts. The first one, I think Sean Murphy might have been the guy that made that one happen with an incredible job of framing. And then the second one, he was battling with Ketel Marte and decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to challenge him. I'm going to throw it over the plate. And we're going to make him put it in play. We're going to make him earn it. We're not going to walk anybody with the bases loaded. And he was able to get the strikeout looking. That, I thought, was a big-time digging deep and a really gutsy pitching by Jesse Chavez.
Yeah, a rare night where Chavez really struggled with command himself. I mean, you don't really see him hit a lot of batters or walk a lot of batters. So, very uncharacteristic for him. But to come back, maybe he does get a little help there from the umpire and Sean Murphy to get the one strikeout there. And then also got maybe a little help against Marte as well. But still, he made the pitches in big spots and was able to get out of it. And you saw the emotion from him. And I like what Peter Moreland said. I think it was more so just frustration because he knows that's not, he doesn't walk a lot of batters. That's not something that's really part of his MO. When he goes out there, you're normally going to get a guy who throws strikes. So again, I'm sure he was pretty frustrated with himself on this night, hitting batters, walking batters, falling behind in counts, but in the end comes through, gets out of the jam. And what was really, the only time you felt like the Braves might blow this one in that inning, he gets out of it and then pretty safe the rest of the way.
Yeah, and the road trip is kind of giving you that kind of feeling of dread. And there were times in the month of May, let's be honest, where the Braves were kind of battling in some games where things just seemed to be harder than they needed to be, even on nights that you won. This one, things were able to settle down about as quick as it started to kind of get out of hand. And Jesse Chavez was a big reason why. Nick Anderson tossed the eighth, Raisel Iglesias the ninth, both of those scoreless frames as the Braves were able to close out a 5-2 win. We'll talk a little bit about the Braves offense, which of course was a big part of this game. You need to score some runs. The Braves did this on this night, but I need to tell you that this episode of the Braves Postcast is brought to you by Game Time, because buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun you're going to have at your chosen event. You need to go over and download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That is Game Time. You want to download that app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Braves offense in this one, it usually starts at the top. Ronald Acuña Jr., he made it happen with his feet, and then he made it happen with the bat a little bit later on. He was able to do it again and take advantage of an infield that wasn't really aware of what he might be having in mind, which was to steal third base. He did it in the fourth, was able to score on a sac fly. The Braves needed that early run, and there's not too many times you can say that there's a clutch stolen base that involved no one covering the bag, but Ronald Acuña Jr. just does stuff that kind of defies the normal sense of, I guess, rules or rationales that you might have for a lot of players.
Yeah, I mean, just heads up, we've seen him, do it twice now within the last couple of weeks, just kind of stealing third base there and setting up an RBI opportunity for the middle of the order. And a good job by Riley in this one, I thought, to just put the ball in play and drove it about as far as you can to center field in that ballpark, and to get the run in there. So I thought it was good execution by the Braves, not necessarily depending on the long ball tonight, although Ronald did get one of those as well that maybe hasn't landed yet. But still, I loved what you saw from this offense. I thought, and I tweeted this out, other than Ozzie not coming through with a runner in third and less than 2 outs, I thought the offense was just outstanding. Now, only 5 runs, that doesn't necessarily show that it was an offensive outbreak, but 11 hits, 5 walks, and only 2 strikeouts. I thought up and down the lineup tonight, you saw really great at bats. You had some great defensive plays by the Diamondbacks, some terrible batted ball luck that really prevented them from scoring a lot more runs in this game, but just up and down the order, 19 hard hit balls by the Braves in this game. I mean, like I said, just one of the better games, especially offensively, that we've seen from the Braves in quite a while.
Yeah, a few other guys to call out on this night that had good games. Obviously, Eddie Rosario, a couple of more hits, including a triple. He knocked in a run, scored one himself. 3 hits for Sean Murphy. Marcell Ozuna, I thought, was really kind of instrumental in making Ryan Nelson, the starter for Arizona, work a little bit. I know the Braves didn't score in that second inning, but I believe a 10-pitch at bat to draw a walk. He had a couple of hits, including an RBI single for himself, scored a run in this one. I want to save Michael Harris for a moment, and you did bring up Ronald Acuña Jr.'s home run, 464 feet, his 12th of the season, 34 homers, 67 stolen base pace. The last time I checked, Jake, that is pretty good and maybe unprecedented. And in fact, it would be if he's able to pull this thing off over 162 games, 30 homers, 60 steals, doing the kinds of things he was doing, both hitting the tape measure home run and grabbing that bag at third base when the Braves really needed him to make something happen. These are the things that makes Ronald Acuña Jr. special.
Yeah, I mean, again, he doesn't hit any cheap home runs. And this one, like I said, I mean, it's up on the concourse up there in the stadium. I mean, it's just truly special talent. I mean, again, I've said it, you can't miss an at bat. Like, there's somewhere I wanted to, run to upstairs real quick, but I couldn't because Ronald Acuña Jr. is coming to the plate. It's that special of a talent right now. You just cannot miss an at bat when he comes up there. You don't know what he's going to do. And it's just, I'm glad he's on our team and he's so much fun to watch. And I just, again, every time we talk about this, please stay healthy because he's on an incredible pace right now to have a fantastic season.
Yeah, fun to see him back, fun to see him healthy. I know he is relieved to be playing like the player he expects to be. And really, the bar was already set pretty high when you consider what he'd done in his young career prior to the injury. And he's just doing more special things this year. He is now only 13 stolen bases away from his career high of 2019 when he stole 37. He led the National League that year. He did that in 156 games. If you're scoring at home, he just played in game number 58. So he is well ahead of a pace to set a career high, as the 67 stolen base pace would probably lead you to believe. Also, last year, 119 games, 29 stolen bases. He's closing in on that. He should be there, Jake, honestly. Before the All-Star break, he could be sitting on a new career high. Maybe he's approaching 40 stolen bases by the break. It might be a tall order. I don't know. But Ronald Acuña Jr. just does these things, and you kind of sit back and marvel at it. I wouldn't rule it out. I'll put it that way. Let's stick a pin, put a bow on the Ronald Acuña Jr. discussion. Michael Harris the second. I know we're going to look at this box score and say, 1 for 4. Well, good for him. He got a hit. He hit the ball hard 4 times in this game. I thought this was one of his better games at the plate that we've seen, particularly when you think about how much he has struggled this year, turning over on balls, rolling the ball to the right side. He was hitting the ball with authority on this night. And as you mentioned, some batted ball luck. That might be what Michael Harris II's night was kind of all about.
Yeah, two players in the game tonight that just really impressed me, that stood out. One was Marcell Ozuna. It looked like he had maybe cooled off a little bit here over the last week or so. Some really impressive at bats for him, a big walk in his first at bat, and then had a couple of hits as well. And then, as you said, I think this is the best game Michael Harris has had in a long time, and he has a single to show for it just because of some really tough batted ball luck. Even when he did drive in a run, it was in a double play on a ball hit up the middle, so he doesn't get an RBI for it either. So I mean, just a completely unlucky night. But you're looking long term here with Michael Harris, and he is the shortstop or the center fielder long term. I know a lot of people are ready to send him down and get rid of him if you're watching on Twitter, but if you're looking long term, this is a very encouraging night for Michael Harris, because as you said, just roping some balls the other way. I mean, the catch by Corbin Carroll, his first at bat, I mean, just insane. Also roped one to third base that went for a double play. So just great stuff for Michael Harris. We've been talking about it. The breakout's coming, and when it comes, I think he's really going to take off. I think this offense is going to take off. He starts getting on base at the bottom of the order in front of Ronald. I mean, that's just going to help this offense tremendously. So very encouraging signs for Michael Harris. The swings that you saw, as you mentioned, 4 hard hit balls, just absolute lasers the other way. That's what you want to see from him.
Yeah, most definitely. This was the kind of night that you do want to see from Michael, and you want to see this night kind of on repeat, because hitting the ball hard, especially up the middle and to the left side, those are the things that he's been working so hard to make those changes show up in games. And I feel like they have been, at least on this road trip. There were a few balls in Oakland as well. I felt like that, he was, swinging the ball, hitting the ball the way that he needs to, doing the swings that he needs, and making those changes that he needed to over the course of that homestand. Hopefully he's going to get himself on track and get to moving. So as we wrap up on the Braves offense, time to take a look at the standings, which has the Braves 3.5 games up in the National League East over the Marlins, who have won back-to-back games, and 4.5 games over the Mets, who have lost back-to-back games. That's what the NL standings look like right now for the Braves at 34-24, now 10 games over 500. Let's talk a little bit about Sunday's game, which will see Michael Soroka back on the mound for the Braves. His second start since coming back after his long odyssey, injuries that kept him down and out of this Atlanta rotation for so long. We got to see him pitch on Monday in Oakland. He'll go at it on Sunday against a Cy Young contender in Zac Gallen. I thought we might get lucky. The Braves might miss him in this trip, and in fact, it was my bad math and not Zac Gallen's starting assignment calendar that lined up the way that it needed to, or didn't, as the case may be. Gallen 7-2 this year. Soroka took a loss in his only start of the season. I felt like there was a lot to build on from that one. Clearly getting the first one under your belt, throwing 6 innings, using all of your pitches. Felt like the velocity was there. Really, I think it's just going to be about refinement right now for Soroka, and we know that the Braves offense is going to have its hands full with Zac Gallen.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for sure going up against Zac Gallen, but I can't wait to watch Michael Soroka pitch again. Like we said last time out, I was very encouraged about what I saw from him, just the movement on his pitches, and I just think he'll, continue to get better, but should be a good game. Hopefully the Braves can take this series, be a big series win on the road against one of the hottest teams in all of baseball right now if they can get it done. So glad that they were able to get the one on Saturday to at least even things up. Now they got an opportunity to win the series, but it'll be a tough challenge. Zac Gallen, again, has been unbelievable. This Braves offense, very encouraging what we saw on Saturday. Can they back that up against one of the best pitchers in all of baseball on Sunday? That'll be something to watch for. And then again, just Michael Soroka continuing that comeback. Does he continue to get a little bit sharper every time out? Certainly hope so. Certainly think so, and know he can do it. So looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it will be on Sunday. I would like to point that out. I know this graphic says Tuesday. I in fact, do know what day of the week it is, but when you start making these things at 1 a.m. Eastern time, you end up with little things like this. So not on Tuesday. We will see Michael Soroka pitch on Sunday. It is a 4:10 first pitch Eastern time as they are still out in the desert. Braves and Diamondbacks wrapping up Game 3 of this series. The Braves, though, winners on this night by a 5-2 score, and that, of course, was worth staying up for, even if all of the graphics weren't exactly where I wanted to be. So I'll make my swing adjustments, and we'll be back in there to tell you all about what's going on in the Braves next time on the Braves Postcast. He is Jake Mastroianni. I'm Grant McAuley. We appreciate you joining us. And, of course, make sure you subscribe to Locked On Sports Atlanta right here on YouTube. Click the bell to get notified every time we drop a new episode, and subscribe to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcasts. A late night win for the Braves as far as all of us staying up here on the eastern side of things, but worth it. And Atlanta has a chance to finish his road trip at 500. All they got to do is win a series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, which is going to be a tough one on Sunday as Michael Soroka goes to the mound for the second time since making his comeback. That'll wrap us up here on the Braves Postcast. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Grant McAuley. We will catch you next time. And until then, so long, everyone.